Good morning, everybody. I am your local friendly therapist. You might be able to hear some geese in the background because I think it's mating season for them, which is kind of relevant to the topic that I'm actually going to talk about today. Um, I was asked the question yesterday, what impact do you think COVID-19 has on people's relationships and the babies that might be born come next winter? And I was going to use both opinion and science to help with this. I have a background in psychology and marriage and family therapy. I've learned a lot through just being a psychology nerd, and I love Gottman stuff, so I'm going to use some of that. But also, I just want to say that none of this is fact. I am just giving opinion. Please do not use this as therapeutic advice. So, what we know about situations that have a lot of heightened anxiety and fear with them is that they can actually bring couples closer together when they may normally not be as close. So, they also might breed what we call this false sense of intimacy, just because people tend to band together a little bit more when they're feeling anxious and scared. So, for now, I actually think that, sometimes hitting hard times can actually be good for couples in the sense that the fear and anxiety around them is going to encourage them to be more intimate, be closer, be more affectionate than maybe they normally would be. On the other hand, I think sometimes the financial impacts of what's going on with COVID-19 could later down the road actually be detrimental to relationships. And so it's important to remember that there's a couple of different factors working both for relationships staying together, and then there are a couple different factors working against relationships. The other thing to consider is that if a couple's stuck in what we call negative sentiment override, so if they already have a pretty negative perception of each other, COVID-19 is not going to save their relationship. In fact, it's going to be much more important that they're actually building in positive things and doing kind things to kind of build up what they call their relationship bank account. But if they're already in a deficit right now, extra stressors can actually be the tipping point for them to actually end their relationships, or just might be the little bit more they needed in the deficit to actually finally make the decision to separate. So there's different factors involved. Ultimately, where your relationship stands before COVID-19 is going to have much more of a determining factor than the actual impacts of COVID-19. But you may notice that with extra time at home with your loved ones, you have more intimacy and just more time that you're bonding together. Now, as far as babies, we actually know that when people have less work and they do stay home, one of the free activities that they can engage in is creating babies. So I do think we are going to see a little bit of a spike of the baby population due to COVID-19. So we might have some COVID-19 babies that would be a larger percentage than it normally would be this time of year. That's cool. I think that's that could be a potentially great thing. Obviously, economically we have to consider everything that entails, especially since a lot of people are economically hit in a bad way by COVID-19. But I think if you're looking at the way that we've seen patterns and when people have had to stay at home from work and when they've been looking for free activities and things to do when they're feeling bored, one of those things is baby making. So I think we're going to see an increase in babies. I think that relationships are really going to end or draw closer together just based on where they were before COVID-19, but might have a temporary period of more intimacy while the fear and anxiety of COVID-19 is still hanging around. So that's my take on that. I hope you guys are all well. Take care of yourself, wash your hands, do some belly breathing, and I will catch up with you next time.